Hello, good evening. Over the past couple of days, the whole world is abuzz with the talk of threat by Putin, the nuclear threat. Uh, Putin, being a former KGB agent, he knows how to play the psychological warfare, and he has been actually doing it really very effectively, I must say. Um, Further, this morning I also happened to be watching an interview at CNN by one Robert Baer. Is an intelligence analyst. What he was saying was really quite disturbing, but that's exactly what I have actually said in my previous presentation, which is he doesn't rule out the possibility of Putin um uh, resorting to nuclear warfare at whatever extent, to whatever little extent, limited nuclear warfare. Uh, Robert Baer feels that that's definitely a possibility that Putin could actually resort to that. I'm not really surprised, and I'm definitely not in disagreement with him at all. Because one of the things that we need to know is when you actually try to peep into the mind of a dictator who is almost pushed to the corner, who is absolutely desperate and who wants to wriggle out of the situation, and who is also very badly looking for a win. When you can actually imagine that that kind of dictator will do anything. Okay, I mean he such dictators do not really give a damn about the loss of lives, even if it is in thousands or 10,000s or even much more, hundreds of thousands, which is what we have seen during the Second World War. Now, in the case of Putin, he has always been able to, with limited success, be able to take the American presidents for a ride. See, did we not have George Bush Jr. saying that he was able to see the soul in Putin's eyes? Okay, so the Americans on international affairs, particularly the American presidents, unfortunately, they've all been really consistently very naive. As powerful as they are militarily, economically, and politically too, in the matter of assessment of international situations and the way to handle, their response has always been quite knee-jerk and sometimes even to the extent of being jingoistic. Now, of Putin, um, presently, when you actually talk in the present current context, uh, the Americans must be able to put themselves in the shoes of Putin and see what he would do. Now, essentially, he's a dictator. He really wants to win at all costs. He doesn't really have any kind of values like human lives, laws of human lives, or the principles of natural justice, or the international law, and all the principles that really govern the international law. When a dictator with thousands of nuclear missiles under his control go rogue like this, then it's definitely a cause for concern, not just for America, for all the international, all of the countries on earth. Even China, that's the reason why even Putin is not able to get unqualified support from China or India. And the Indian Prime Minister has actually gone, I would say, a little out of the way to caution Putin and to tell him it's a kind of lecture that he has actually given to Putin, that these are not basically days of war, and Putin should not be thinking on those lines, and he must actually ensure that he is able to bring the war to a closure as quickly as possible. Now, in terms of nuclear threat, okay, what is he likely to do? What will happen? See, in case Putin decides to go nuclear, as he is threatening, what is he likely to do? He may not actually go the full blast to the extent that he is going to invite all the other countries to bombard Russia, or possibly that may lead to the catastrophic consequences of a third world war, which this world cannot afford or sustain. Okay, the world is not going to remain what it is. After that, it's a no-brainer. Everyone knows about it. But in case of limited nuclear threat, if he's going to put a limit bomb, which would possibly just destroy one or two cities in Ukraine, and that's going to bring the war to an end. So, to that extent, is that a possibility? I do think it's a possibility, because this man is really desperate and he's actually being pushed to a corner, and he's so angry right now, so frustrated. And when the frustration, with the frustration, anger, and a big bloated mountain-sized ego on his head, this man really wants to, at this stage, he wants to teach the world a lesson. He wants to teach America as a lesson. So to that end, he may actually go to, any extent, as long as it doesn't affect his own survival. He must be able to do something. After that, he must be also able to survive, protect his own self and protect Russia to some extent, but essentially protect himself, survive, continue to survive as a ruler. Okay, in which case, what is likely to happen? When he actually puts a bomb like that, then he is going to become completely ostracized by the whole world. After that, Russia is going to become considerably weak, but the war is going to come to an end, and Putin would have the satisfaction of annexing a sizable portion of Ukraine along with Russia. Already he has held a sham election in one or two places there, and he claims to have won victory. So it's never going to be easy for Ukraine to regain the lost territories anymore. So when you actually have to deal with the Putin, what is the strategy that needs to be adopted by America? That's the question that we have right now. Now, Biden has actually done well to send subtle messages about the consequences of what is likely to happen if he is going to go nuclear. But that is more likely just a threat. I don't really think the Western powers or America will be able to do anything more than just a threat. Because, see, the natural consequences of a nuclear war is America will have to actually respond with a nuclear attack against Russia, which is just not in the realms of possibilities. If the world has to survive, if America has to do that in response to any possible nuclear attack to whatever extent by Russia upon Ukraine, against Ukraine, then that's actually going to catastrophic consequences for the world, as I said. Then, whether it's going to be limited to just Russia and America, I'm not. So these are things that we would not even like to actually talk. We just shudder to think on those lines. So the subtle threat is okay. They have to actually keep doing it, but there has to be some other method by which US will be able to check Putin from doing this. They have not been able to stop Putin against invading against Ukraine, in spite of whatever talk, whatever meeting, whatever parlays that they had with the Russians before. Now, will they be able to stop Putin going nuclear? Now, it has to be a combination of, as they say, carrot and stick, a policy of firmness and flexibility. Firmness is being shown by the kind of warning, subtle caution, and that the Americans have been, that the American government under Joe Biden has actually conveyed to Putin. That's a subtle threat, that's a firmness that is shown. And in terms of advanced weapon that Americans have been providing to Ukraine, that strengthens Ukraine to a very great extent. So beyond that, Americans should also be finding way through some third-party mediation, like possibly with the under the auspices of Turkey or Saudi Arabia or even China, for example. Americans actually can try to strike a kind of deal with the China, make the relationship a little more warm. I am not sure if they are doing it already, because last week I actually read a report that one of the senior Chinese Politburo members, I think, or former vice chairman, prime minister, whatever, has actually come to America to have a meeting with Dr. Kissinger. So I don't really know if there is something actually going behind the scenes, but it may not be a bad idea for America to bring China into the picture very actively. Forget all the other issues that you have with China right now. The most important thing is to stop the war between Ukraine and Russia. Try to work out a compromise. So that some kind of face-saving solution has to be provided to Putin right now. This is not the time to be standing on prestige or status or just offering nothing more than empty threats. This is what the Biden administration has to be doing. Don't take Putin lightly. This is a reckless man. This is an absolutely irresponsible man with no regard for any kind of international political order or international values, social values, or any loss of lives. So, this man's threat needs to be taken seriously and acted upon. Acted upon not just with firmness, but there has to be a kind of carrot that is actually shown to Putin, so that he feels there is a face saving solution for him. I mean, he definitely does not want to prolong the war. As if he is able to consolidate whatever he gained so far with some kind of face saving thing, and you provide him a guarantee that Ukraine and other similar other countries, neighboring countries, are never going to be admitted to NATO or some such thing. Okay, any kind of promise or some attractive offer to Putin with some third party mediation would be definitely worth trying right now. You really have to put yourself into the mind of Putin to know that such a desperate man, without any regard for any decent values, international values, or international order, may go to any extent as long as his survival is ensured. So, a limited nuclear attack by Putin may not be so unrealistic to expect. And that is exactly what Robert Baer, the intelligence analyst, said this morning on CAN, based on the conversation he has had with his contacts within Russia. So that's a very insightful thing that he said, and the Biden administration has to take it really very seriously, and I hope they really do, in the interest of the world at large. Thank you. Have a great evening. Good night.